Yo, yo, yo. Yes, Pinky. A little bit late this morning. Hit the old snooze button, dude. Just tired, man. Hit the snooze button and then, well, I thought I hit snooze. I turned my alarm off. Turned my alarm off, dude. What up, Pinky? What's up, everybody? So yeah, I woke up very late, but could have been worse. Could have been worse. So we're here. That's what matters. Hope everybody's doing well. Another beautiful day for hanging out with cool peoples, playing games, finding out what's going on in the industry, man. So that's what we're about to do. We've got video gaming news popping off for today, September 10th, and then we're going to dive into another day of probably doing the Endless Dungeon beta, trying that out with friendos. I didn't get as much time to look into the drop side of things last night as I was hoping I would, so I don't know. I don't have any of that sorted any more than I did yesterday, but we'll try to see if we can figure something out before we start playing the game today. So hope you guys are doing well, man. Happy Sunday again. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's dive into video gaming news and see what we got going on. All right, let's go. Yeah. That was weird. Java. I need lots. All right. That's pretty dope. Somebody in Starfield built a Imperial Destroyer. That's pretty cool. Looks like Horizon, probably, we're talking probably Forbidden West, getting Complete Edition. Take a look at that. Is that what that is? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Oh god, Gaming Bible is so clickbaity, dude. Let's see if this is legit or not. So CDPR giving away 70 free games right now? Really? So they're talking about on GOG, I'm sure. 70 free games right now on their own storefront, which would be GOG. Plenty of free PC games. You know where to look. Currently downloaded a whopping 70 free games via GOG, digital storefront owned by CD Projekt Red. Alright, we'll take a look at this. See if it's legit. There's a rumor out there claiming the next Mass Effect is going to be linear and not an open world game. Davey, what's up, dude? What's going on, brother? Happy Sunday. So, look, we're not going to be getting a whole lot of it. This is a lot of the Mass Effect stuff's going to be like rumor mill, speculative kind of talk until, you know, BioWare starts really going hard on the development of this, and that's not going to happen until Dragon's Age, the new Dragon's Age game. I can't think of the name of it right now. Is it Dreadwolf? Something like that. Until they finish that up and that game releases. And we're not even really all that close to that yet. Probably about a year and a half away from the release of that, I think, probably. So, this is one of those situations we always find ourselves in for a lot of developers that develop, you know, long-running IPs that people are into. So people are always trying to like data mine info about the game that's coming next, because they're more interested in something like Mass Effect than they are Dragon's Age. So they're trying to come up with any information they can on you know, what Mass Effect is going to be, you know, before the developer's even ready to like really give us information about it. We'll get the information that we're supposed to have when we're supposed to get it. That's the way this works. People just need to chill out, let it come to us. That's the way this is supposed to work. This entire mindset of needing to try and drag out info or hack into these companies and get info, or, you know, get inside information for info about games that the developer's not ready for us to have it's not a healthy way to, you know, embrace a relationship between us and the developers as gaming enthusiasts, you know. So I don't know, people just need to chill, and we'll get the information whenever we're supposed to have it. And it could be just a linear game. It doesn't mean it's bad, dude. So I don't know. It seems like everybody wants an open world game, you know? Everybody wants an open world game to explore. And I mean, for sure, I think that Mass Effect has a great universe for that type of game, but it doesn't have to be open world either, you know. Oh, you got that platinum in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, huh? Nice, GG's, dude. Sick. Trying to decide what game you should what, platinum next? Is that what you're saying? Probably Divinity. Oh, here we go again, dude. Oh my god, it's happening again, dude. Oh god. What is it? Yeah, Davey. Was this what it was? Minus, I think it was this, right? Yeah, I had to do the same thing yesterday. I don't know what's going on with that site. I normally am good with game is hard, but I don't know what's gone on with their website. It's like they republished every single flippin' article they've ever done, and so we're just getting our searches are just saturated with almost solely game is hard articles. So I had to do this yesterday too, so we'll just have to kind of start over here. Stalker 2 developers' latest setback is a fire gutting of a third of its office. Oh no. Yeah, so the last we had heard about Stalker 2 was people that had played it were really, really concerned with the state of the game at Gamescom. The Gamescom play that they were pushing out was very, very subpar from what I understand. And that's unfortunate. Let's be fair. You know, they've GSC Game World. They've had a very, very tumultuous time in trying to continue to develop this game, and due to the fact that they are a Ukrainian-based developer and the invasion of Russia into Ukraine, or the invasion of you know, Ukraine by Russia, has really put a lot of obstacles in their path of getting this game finished. And I mean, rightfully so. I mean, that's something that people just have to be understanding about. So I think the smartest thing they could probably do is quit giving windows. If it don't rush this, you know what I mean? I know that they want to give people an idea of when the game's going to come and stuff, but the best thing they can do is not worry about continuing to have to try and meet a specific date, but just focus on what is healthy for them and getting this done the correct way, you know. So so we'll take a look at this. That's unfortunate. That sucks. But we all want to see this game come out and be good and not be from what I understand, what the impressions were from Gamescom trials of the game were pretty bad. We've talked about the Sifu stuff. Oh yeah, Davey. Yeah, dude. Joystick drift is a terrible thing. I've actually taken every single one of our Joy-Cons. Joy-Cons are terrible about it over time. Joy-Cons have terrible joysticks in them. And luckily, they're not hard to replace. So, I don't know, probably about half a year ago, I bought a quantity of replaceable replace was the joystick replacements, and I just opened up all of the Joy-Cons that we own and replaced all the joysticks in them. Stick drift sucks, dude. It really is. Each kind of controller is a little bit different on your ability to replace joysticks, how easy it is, how expensive they are, things like that, though. So I'm guessing a PS5 controller. I haven't ever done a PS5 controller. I don't own a PS5 controller. Was DualSense controller. So I don't know. I'm guessing it would be a bit more expensive of a part to replace on a PS5 controller, but I don't know for sure either. But stick drift sucks, dude. You might look online. Sometimes you can fix stick drift just by cleaning up the joystick too. If you like take the outer casing off of the controller and just use a little bit of compressed air, maybe like a little bit of some at least 90% or above isopropyl alcohol, and just roll that joystick around while you kind of use like a Q-tip to kind of clean around. You got to make sure you're not getting, you know, the fuzzies off into the lower part of the joystick and stuff. You know what I mean? There's some different kinds of applicators you can use to clean those with too that might be a little bit better for the joystick rather than a Q-tip. But a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of high concentration isopropyl alcohol, some compressed air, cleaning out the joystick sometimes can help. But usually if a joystick starts having stick drift, it's usually because it's getting worn out. And even if it fixes it to an extent, it won't totally fix it, and it won't keep it good for a long time, you know? It kind of sucks. Stick drift's been a problem ever since joysticks came into play for us, man. Always. Sucks. I feel for you, brother. Yo, what? Bloodstain's getting DLC? That's Bloodstain. Nice. Cool, let's read about that. Tinwin, what up, dog? What's going on, brother? You down for some more endless dungeon today, dude? Oh, God. Sure, cool, man. Xbox Sale has some games for less than $5. We'll take a peek at that. New PS State of Play potentially happening soon, as well as we're supposed to have a Nintendo Direct happening this week also. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for the Nintendo Direct whenever that's supposed to pop off. They're saying sometime between like the weekdays this week for the Nintendo Direct, so potentially tomorrow through Friday. So hopefully we'll catch wind of that sometime soon. Excuse me. How you doing, Tinwin? Happy Sunday, broski. Speculation. I'm not going to deal with that. Well, football is obviously taking off here in the U.S. because that's like half the stuff we're getting on our our initial search for just gaming news. This should be a little bit better. We've already talked about that. Stray is being adapted into a movie. We've talked about it. I'm actually interested. I want to take a look at this again. Let's look at yeah, this is kind of wild, dude. So from PC, oh my bad, to PS5, both Metascores are at 96. But user scores, now granted, PC user scores are of a much higher amount of data to be based upon rather than PS5. PS5, you've got 600 roughly ratings, but it's a 7.8 versus PC, which is an 8.9. You know what I mean? I think what you have to do is probably consider that this game was originally designed to be a PC first game. That might have a little bit to do with this. But also, I mean, the amount of ratings you have here to get to this score, as opposed to the low amount of ratings you have here to get to this score, I'm probably going to side more towards this being closer to an 8.9 for users than a 7.8. You know what I mean? Across the board. But you do have to take into consideration the differences between the platforms and what people could be experiencing here. And we'll take a little bit of a look at some more of the maybe mediocre reviews here to see what people are saying about what the game feels like on PS5, okay? Not that a 7.8 is not bad. Okay? Let's be very, very clear here. A 7.8 is not a bad score. But that's not the kind of score you expect out of a game like Baldur's Gate 3 that has consensus been reviewed very, very, very high from users, most users, and critics alike. You know? Which leads me to believe it probably could have to do with the difference in the versions on between like the PC and PS5. I don't know though. Nintendo reportedly gave private Switch 2 demos to developers. Yeah, we already know a lot of developers have their hands on basically Nintendo's next generation of hardware, so they can develop content for it, because that hardware is going to be here within the next year, roughly, give or take a little bit. So we'll read it real quick. We'll see what it says. Yo, Total War has been getting blown away right now with basically just getting review bombed really, really badly. I haven't looked at this in a while, but let's pull this up real quick. So Total War Warhammer 3 was getting just slammed. And oh yeah, dude. Oh wow. 12% of over 7,500 reviews over the past month. They really pissed off their community. They really, really pissed off their community. Which has led to their all-time reviews going down to a mixed 62% of over 60,000. So, yeah. I mean, if you didn't know, basically what happened here was they raised prices of DLC. DLC also apparently was coming out with less content than what people had been expecting, especially in relation to historically what you know, Creative Assembly had been pushing out for DLC content for the Total War Warhammer games. So they were raising prices and not as much stuff in the content. One second. Apologies. So I think that basically, from what I understand, this was a very reactive situation for Creative, where they didn't address what this issue was in the first place. You know, what they did was they raised prices. They didn't talk to the community about it in a proactive kind of situation. They didn't talk to everybody first and go, look, here's the deal. We need to start raising prices. This is why, instead they just did it. They just did this and then waited for everybody to kind of come at them and go, what is going on? Why are you doing this? Why are prices raising and with less content than normal? And then they just addressed it on the back end after they rolled out all these changes. And that's not a good look, man. From a game like this that has a pretty high player base, to be dealing with a situation like this in a reactive stance is not good. You want to be very clear, very transparent with your community about any kinds of things like this that are going to be happening, in order to not turn off your community, in order to make sure that you're maintaining a good relationship with your player base, and let them know when changes are happening, why those changes are needing to take place. Not that there wouldn't have been still, you know, maybe a little bit of disdain for what they're doing in raising prices and stuff, but at least people would probably be more understanding about it if the company would have just been upfront about what was going on, you know, rather than just going and doing it and then having to. It sounds more like excuses, if that makes sense. It sounds more like excuses whenever you're not upfront about something, you know? It comes off more like you're just trying to come up with excuses for why you did this, rather than trying to be real transparent in the first place and go, look, we need to make some changes. We're going to have to do some things because our end is getting more expensive to push this content out. We need to raise prices a little bit. And then, you know, that's the way it comes off to me. That's everything that I've read about it. But man, they're getting blasted. The reviews are just. Let's see this. Let's see this graph. Yeah. So you can see just over the roughly the past month when all this went down, it got really, really bad. Pretty rough, dude. And it just goes to show how important it is for developers to understand quite often the importance of maintaining a good relationship with your communities. Go one more page here. This is supposed to be video gaming news. Why am I getting flipping football news, dude? Jesus. Give me a break, dude. It must just be real bleak, dude. On the front of it. It'd be like that on Sundays sometimes. Alright, let's just dive in here. Let's dive in. Nintendo reportedly gave private Switch 2 demos to developers. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is near. Or at least if reports about some backroom shenanigans are to be believed. This week, news broke that Nintendo gave private demonstrations of the alleged Switch 2 hardware to developers at the Gamescom event in Cologne, Germany at the end of August. The news was first reported by Eurogamer and corroborated by VGC. From there, it exploded across the internet. There are no concrete details about hardware, device size, or whether current Switch games will be compatible on the updated console. VGC reports there's possible support for some advanced graphics options like ray tracing and NVIDIA's image enhancing deep learning super. Yo, can you just shut up? Can I not? There, Jesus. Possible support for some advanced options, graphical options. Apparently, Nintendo showed off the enhanced gameplay of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the new system, as well as a Matrix-themed demo of the Unreal Engine 5 that was originally meant to show off the power of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X consoles. I think most people have assumed that the new Switch would come out with probably something closer to like a PS4. Obviously, it'll be more modern hardware, but probably power-wise, something similar to like PS4 stuff. Rumors about a Switch, or rumors about the next Nintendo. I don't even like this. I don't like this. So, is it safe to assume that Nintendo is probably going to be calling this? It's going to be a very similar device to the original Switch. Yeah. But we don't know either. And everybody just wants to call it a Switch 2 when Nintendo hasn't confirmed that. Really what these outlets need to be doing is referring to this as Nintendo's next console. That's what they need to be doing. Or at least if you're going to call it a Switch 2, put some flipping, quotations around this, so that people understand that this is not an official name for this console yet. Nintendo has not confirmed that this is what this is going to be called. Probably, but it's not official either. Rumors about a Switch 2 or Nintendo's next console have been swirling for years. Since the original was such a hit, a refresh feels inevitable. Yeah, especially since the original, which is 6 going on 7 years old now, and the hardware is even older than that within the device, and it shows. The device was not all that powerful to begin with, and it's looked dated. The device has looked dated hardware-wise for quite a while now. Previous rumors have hinted at the possibility of the Switch 2 being timed for a 2024 release. In fact, Nintendo gave developers a glimpse of the tech, suggested it's far enough along to begin developing games for. There's been no official announcement about a release date. We have heard rumors that Nintendo's already pushed out development kits for the hardware for specific developers to start developing software for their next console, though. We've heard that. So I don't think that anybody is under the impression that hasn't already happened. It's really, really safe to assume we're already going to be getting Nintendo's next hardware probably around this time next year, give or take a little bit. It could happen. Look, I think when did the Switch launched in like March? I think it was like springtime release for the Switch, the original Switch, right? But quite often hardware releases will happen fall time, August, not August, but autumn, like fall time, autumn time, into right before the holiday season, quite often, because it gets real hyped up. Everybody's looking to spend money for presents and for their kiddos and loved ones and stuff. And so you'll get a real spike on the release. Not that you wouldn't have, people buying into it on release anyways, but it just tends to be the trend. Just like, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S released in November of 2020. Nintendo didn't do that with the Switch, which means that they don't necessarily feel like, obviously, it's something they need to do with their platform. But I think it would be safe to say that their hardware will probably release summer of next year into the autumn, fall time of next year. That's what I'm assuming anyways. Everything that we're seeing is kind of leading us to believe that we are going to be getting new Nintendo hardware within the next year. It's looking more and more like that's kind of the case here. But we need it. I think developers have been really handicapped by what they're able to do with developing software for the Nintendo console for a number of years now. And not only that, but I mean, even in the more notable games that you've seen, like take the Zelda games, both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, are they phenomenal games? Absolutely, they are. They're phenomenal games. But they in a genre like that, you're really they're locked at 30 frames per second. It's a hardware issue. You still have areas in those games where you get frame drop, you get stuttering a little bit. It's really pushing that hardware to its limit. And that's a genre of game, an action combat game, action combat RPG, that you really don't want to be playing a game like that at 30 frames. There'll be people that go, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Well, if you've ever played a game, if you've spent any amount of time playing games, especially games like that, action combat games, RPGs, hack and slashers, especially difficult ones that require a lot of timing and things like that, and shooters there are specific genres where frames absolutely matter. And 30 frames is really, really low for those kinds of genres, especially if you end up dropping any frames at all, because that's where you start feeling it significantly more than if you're like dropping frames from like 30 into the 20s is it feels incredibly bad. And when you've got games that are almost all games on the Switch are locked at 30 frames. And if they drop frames, it feels really bad. As opposed to games that are at like a 60 frame rate, 60 frames per second frame rate, where if you drop some frames down into the 50s, it's not nearly as noticeable. That's just a fact. And so I think this is one of the biggest areas in which, Nintendo has needed new hardware for a while. They've been moving more into these genre of games that need more frames, and it's going to feel a lot better whenever they get the new hardware out and you can play most of their games at least a locked 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? That way, if there are some areas where the game gets a bit bogged down and it drops a few frames, it doesn't feel nearly as bad. So I don't know. We've needed it for a long time. I think it's coming within the next year, and developers have needed it. I think game players know that you've needed it from. There's a reason why people have emulated Switch games for a long time on PC now. It just feels better. It feels better. You get to play games at a higher resolution, a higher frame rate, and the games being emulated on PC just feel much, much better than they do playing on that hardware. And don't get me wrong, the Switch has been an amazing console. It's been defining for the industry, for sure, but it's been needed for a long time. So I can't wait. Xbox Sale has popular and critically acclaimed games for less than $5. What do we got here? 4 different promotional sales currently live on the Xbox Store, discounting hundreds of Xbox 360 games, Xbox One games, and Xbox Series X and S games. Remember, as of July of next year, the Xbox 360 store is going to be no more. So, keeping that in mind, if there are sales happening, now this is the big thing to remember. The store is going away, but any purchases you've made for the Xbox 360 from that store, you will always be able to access that content. And they're not getting rid of the multiplayer aspect of that platform or anything like that. They're just getting rid of the store. Does it feel good? No. But the glass is half full, I guess. They're still maintaining your access to all the content that you own and giving you your multiplayer access for that console still and everything. So keeping all of that in mind, if you're still playing around with the Xbox 360, when you see sales like this come up over the next year, you should probably really be taking a close look at any of those games that you want to get your hands on that you don't currently own, to snag those before the eShop goes away for the Xbox 360, okay? Or the online store for them. So hundreds of Xbox 360, Xbox One games, and Xbox Series X and S games in the process. Naturally, many of the deals are nothing to write home to mom about, nor do they compare to the retail deals for the same games. There are some good deals to be had, however. To this end, if you're looking for something new to play on your Xbox console, but don't have more than a few dollars to spend, dozens of games below may tickle your fancy. They're showing all the games that they found notable of $5 or less. Most of the deals featured are for the Xbox 360 games and Xbox One games. There are a few Series X and S sprinkled in here though. XCOM 2 for $3. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen for $4. Dead Island Definitive Edition $3. Little Nightmares $5. Ruiner $2. Twin Mirror $4.50. Shenmue 1 and 2 $4.50. Lost in Random $4.50. Mass Effect 3 and 2 for $4 each. Dragon Age Origins $3. Dragon. This says Drag 1 Age 2. Dragon's Age 2 is $4. Sword of the Necromancer, just under $4. Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition, $5. For the King, $5. Kingdom Come Deliverance, $5. Titanfall 2, $4.50. You can get that game on Steam right now for like $3, I think. Yo, it's random mode time, by the way. Prince of Persia, $2.50. Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, $5. Zombie, $4. Grow Up, $4. Dude, there's a lot. There's a lot. I'll list it. You can see. There's a ton of BioShock games. Red Faction, by the way, Red Faction who is the original developer behind it? They just shut down, right? Volition, I think. I think that was who the original developer was behind Red Faction. Because that was Saints Row developer, right? And they just got shut down by their parent company of Embracer. My friend Pedro, dude, Resident Evil and Resident Evil 0, Plants vs. Zombies, Metro games, Walking Dead games, AC 1 and 2, some Tom Clancy stuff in here. Yeah, you're good. You're good, Davey. So lots of deals to be had here if you're interested, guys, for the Xbox. All right, here you go. I'll link it for you. Take a look. All those are links that you can click on, so it should be easy to grab any of those cells that you want. All right, let's get that random mode going. Yeah. All right, dude. New PlayStation State of Play possibly happening soon. So, what do we got here? What's going on? We'll talk about that too. It's been a minute since the last PlayStation event. It was at the end of May. It happened right before all the June stuff popped off. I actually thought it was pretty good. I think that PlayStation got a lot of flack for it. And I think most of it was from their community, because like their dedicated sole PlayStation player community, because they were like, we didn't get enough of our proprietary games. But dude, I thought it was a pretty solid event. A pretty solid showcase. I guess for somebody like me, they did show some proprietary stuff, but they also showed a lot of multi-platform stuff, which is for somebody like me, I like seeing that. Let's see. Rumors of an upcoming PlayStation Play event have been State of Play event have been swirling around the last couple of weeks. So a Reset Era user who has been a credible leaker in the past is suggesting that a PlayStation event may be coming next week. And this is after Jeff Grubb reported he heard a State of Play was on the way at the end of August. Okay. Again, this is grain of salt stuff because it's nothing official, but yeah, PlayStation does have some stuff coming, like Marvel Spider-Man 2. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open for when we might get some more details on an official capacity of this popping off. And we're supposed to have a Nintendo one coming this week, potentially a PlayStation State of Play coming as well. And when they happen, dude, we'll watch them live, okay? As we do. Stalker 2 developers' latest setback is a fire gutting a third of its office. But it insists the team's dealt with worse than that before. It'd be nice if the universe would let GSC Game World catch a break. Agreed. They deserve it. As reported by Czech publication Vortex on September 7th, Stalker 2 developer GSC Game World suffered a fire at the Prague office it moved into last year. Following the Russian invasion of Ukraine, GSC Game World employees have stated that no one was hurt in the incident, but one of the 3 floors occupied by the dev sustained heavy damage and requires full restoration. Vortex reports that the other 2 floors used by GSC Game World were undamaged by the fire, but that the damaged floor may have been where the developer stored its backup servers. A GSC Game World representative confirmed the fire occurred and stated the incident was under investigation. This was echoed by another GSC Game World employee with a handle Mullet on the official Stalker Discord channel. Their message is as follows. It is true. Fortunately, none of the employees or staff were injured in the accident. Fire broke out in our office in Prague on Thursday, and even though the fire was successfully put out, one of the office floors now requires a full restoration. Further details of the accident are still being investigated. We express our deepest appreciation for your questions and the words of support we have been receiving. Yeah. GSC Game World can't catch a break. Studio relocated to Prague from Kiev in the first place to continue working on Stalker after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's since weathered multiple major hacks and leaks, seemingly originating from disgruntled Russian fans of its games. GSC Game World recently announced that Stalker 2 was delayed into early next year, and it's not clear if this office fire will delay release even further. Despite all the hardships and setbacks, though, the game itself looks like the Stalker we know and love. Yeah, so... Okay, so PCG UK editor-in-chief Phil Savage wrote that a brief Gamescom demo of the game manages to pack in all the grim dystopian misery a Stalker fan would want. I also read a lot of stuff about the demo at Gamescom saying that the game was far from being ready for release, which is probably why they delayed it again. But again, I mean, I feel the same way. We need to definitely cut GSC Game World some slack here. They've gone through a lot of rough times in the development process of this game that are out of their hands, really, and it's just a difficult thing to deal with. And so they need to just have the support, I think, of the entire gaming community to be able to focus down on this game as they need to, in the way that they best can, without having any kind of, you know, outside feelings of you need to get this done, and just us embracing them and going, it's okay, you guys do what you need to do, and just you know, take your time. You know, we're more worried about them as individuals and as people, and taking care of themselves through everything that's gone on with them. First and foremost, people, that's what people need to understand. Those are people. They've gone through tumultuous, terrible, catastrophic, life-changing events just with the Russian invasion. Not just for themselves, but for a lot of their loved ones as well, that live in Ukraine. Okay, so I mean, it's a very difficult thing to explain if you know, for people that have never dealt with a war in any capacity. It's a terrible thing to watch people have to deal with, and so, you know, they've continued to push forward and try and get this game done, and through amidst all of that strife, and you know, kudos to them for that. But I think they need to know that from us as a gaming community, we're you know, embracing them and giving them the space and time they need to take care of themselves first and foremost, and their loved ones, and get the game done in a, you know, the best manner possible for them. So, you know, the fire, like we're just talking about, that just happened, that's just like when it rains, it pours. You know what I mean? That sucks. You know, so they're just dealing with like kind of like trouble time after trouble time after trouble time, and it's one of those like experiences that most people have dealt with that kind of stuff in their life, and them as a company, it definitely feels like they're dealing with that kind of situation right now. I think we really just need to have an understanding of letting GSC Game World do what they need to do to take care of themselves, take care of their business, and take the time they need to get this game finished the right way, without feeling the pressure from anybody, any entity outside, whether it be the gaming community or other businesses or anything like that, to bring us a quality product. You know what I mean? I think that's appropriate. One of the best Metroidvanias gets DLC based on one of the first Metroidvanias, straight from a legendary Castlevania dead. Yeah, well, I mean, what we're talking about here is Bloodstained, which is actually developed by the same brilliant mind that brought us Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is one of the most iconic, one of the most iconic Metroidvanias of all time. So this is Bloodstained. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, a spiritual successor to the classic Castlevania game. It says spiritual successor to the classic Castlevania games. No, it is a spiritual successor to the classic Castlevania, iconic Castlevania game. I thought Castlevania Bloodstained Ritual, Castlevania, why am I blanking the name of that? There's a specific game. I thought Castlevania was the Ritual of the Night. Symphony of the Night, my bad. I'm tripping, not enough coffee this morning. This is the game that has really been a huge iconic trend-setting game for Metroidvanias since its release back in the 90s. This game is amazing, fantastic. This is the game that made me fall in love with Metroidvanias, and it's not just Castlevania games in general that this is a spiritual successor to. Specifically, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Okay, so showing no signs of slowing down after the indie tops 2 million in sales. To celebrate, former Castlevania producer Koji Igarashi detailed a bunch of upcoming additions to the smash hit, including 2 multiplayer modes, really, and an epilogue that riffs on one of the oldest Metroidvanias ever made. In a video update embedded below, Igarashi and director Shutari Lida revealed another look at the game's upcoming Versus and Chaos modes. Chaos seems to be a co-op mode that restricts special abilities and throws monster hordes your way. Versus mode, on the other hand, puts you up against one other player as you compete for the highest score, which in this case can be won by slicing baddies as fast as possible. Let's take a look at this. Oh man, I forgot my music popping off still going on. I'm an idiot. Sorry guys.
残りのコンテンツですが、こちら遅れております。主な原因としましては技術的な問題、それとコロナの影響が大きいです。お待たせしまして大変申し訳ございません。
I love how proper, like, if you notice, like in Japan, you see most, like anytime they do something like this, they're always sitting very proper. Very upright, you know. Multiplayer, dude, insane. Interesting.
さらに追加のコンテンツですが、ここからは有料のプレミアム DLC となります。着せ替えの衣装と新モードのご紹介をさせていただきます。こちらもどうぞ。
I had a bug in my game, spicy, dude. I had a bug in my game where if I took a hat off my character, it was like the top of her head was bald, but the rest of her hair was there. It was hilarious.
ブラッドステインドリチュアル・オブ・ザ・ナイト世界累計販売本数200万本達成しました。これもひとえにバッカーの皆様、サポートしてくれた方々、関係各位の皆様のおかげです。心より感謝いたします。引き続きブラッドステインドをよろしくお願いいたします。
Bloodstain's a dope game. Highly recommend. Again, obviously, Castlevania Symphony of the Night was a game that definitely made me fall in love with Metroidvanias, and this is supposed to be the spiritual successor to that game, and you'll see a lot of similarities too, throughout playing this game as well. So. It's a very, very good Metroidvania. And if you enjoy Metroidvanias, I highly recommend checking it out. First, we apologize for the long delay between updates. A blog on the game's website states the development team has been busy working on the new Versus and Chaos modes, both of which include online multiplayer play for the first time. This has resulted in some challenges and delays that we did not expect. We continue forward. The note ends by saying the new content is nearing completion, but the team will show more for the two modes, more from the two modes on September 14th. An arguably more exciting mode is still forthcoming in the further future, though. Bloodstain's second classic mode, called Dominique's Curse, was teased at the end of the video update and seems to be taking inspiration from the beloved Castlevania II Simon's Quest. The mode serves as an epilogue to the main game. Cast us as Dominique, who you might remember as a major villain in Bloodstained. Overall, the story developers behind the indie hit don't have plans to stop development, as we previously reported. A sequel to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is currently in development. Oh, sick, dude, yeah. While a small portion of the team works to mop up the remaining Kickstarter stretch goals, more Bloodstained can only be a thing, as we previously ranked the Dark Fantasy Gem very highly on our best Metroidvanias list. Yeah, it's great, dude. I mean, speaking of Metroidvanias, though, Team Cherry, where you at? Where's Silk Song, dude? Is it ever coming out? It's becoming a myth at this point. Cyberpunk's publisher, which is CD Projekt Red, is giving away 70 free games right now. It's a lot. There are plenty. Gaming Bible is real clickbaity. I don't do a lot of their articles anymore because they're very clickbaity. But let's see what this is. There are plenty of free PC games if you know where to look. Let's see. Fat stack of juicy free games was flagged by Free Steam Games on Twitter, who went to the trouble of outlining all 70 games. There are some honest-to-God classics in there, ranging from early RPGs like Ultima 4 to arcade shooters like Star Gunner. It's an exhaustive list and a real walk-through video game history for anyone who feels like paying their respects to some of the industry's earliest titles. Some highlights include Betrayer, Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, and Arena. Semarost 1, Gwent, the Witcher card game, that's always been free. Lords of Midnight. Now look, Gwent, unfortunately, CDPR has decided to stop creating content for this game and supporting it really moving forward. So as of September this month, Gwent is done. Gwent is finished. So it is going to still be playable, but they're kind of handing it over to the community and being like, you know, which we don't know exactly what all that means right now. If they're going to let the community kind of try and hold the game up and maybe do some kind of personal. I doubt you'll be able to do much for it in a content aspect, but it will still be competitive. I'm guessing stuff going on, but it's going to be more community maintained, I think, than anything. There won't be new content for the game at all, which is unfortunate because this is a really, really good digital trading card game, and to see CDPR just drop it feels bad. But I guess apparently they felt like there weren't enough people playing the game to continue to support it. So, but it is very fun. It's free, and maybe check it out. The Lords of Midnight, Quake 2 RTX, Shores Unknown Arrival. Okay, this is really just the tip of the iceberg. Urge you to have a proper rummage through everything being offered. With 70 games to choose from, there's absolutely no way you don't find one you absolutely love. So they've got the list, it looks like. Let's see. Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, good night. So, yeah, they listed all these games you can get for free on GOG, okay? Like 70 classic games you can download right now on GOG. So I'll link this. All right, there's that. So if you're not familiar with GOG, good old games, right? Very good platform. And this is the platform to have like single player kind of games because there's no DRM involved, meaning you don't have to connect to their servers to play the games as long as you've already downloaded them and installed them. So you're good to go. It's a very, very good platform. Highly recommend. So there's a lot of good games to grab right here. That's the Twitter link for the list of games and everything. So there's that. Here's the original article we read as well. So take a look at those. While we're on the topic of free games, don't forget to grab Spell Drifter right now. This game will be free for the next roughly 4 days on Epic. So go hop on Epic Games, grab your free title. There's no reason not to. Even if you're not a PC gamer right now, you could become a PC gamer in the future. And if you're grabbing all the free content you can right now, when that time comes, you'll have a lot of free games to try and play, okay? So then next week will be 911 Operator, all right? So get your free games. Looks like one of PlayStation's PS5's best games is getting a complete edition. So, Guerrilla's sprawling open world Horizon Forbidden West is looking like it's going to get a re-release of the game for its new gen console, which will include the Burning Shores expansion out of the box. It's getting a rating in Singapore spotted by Reset Era, revealing an upcoming complete edition of Alloy's sophomore outing. Additional information confirms this is indeed a compilation featuring the original game and its post-release add-on pack. While the PS5 is currently the only listed platform, some are speculating this version could also release on PC. That would make sense, especially as it's been nearly 2 years since the title debuted on console. Yep. Which is roughly the amount of time that PlayStation has stated that they're trying to get their first-party titles on PC nowadays. We suspect Sony will officially announce this bundle in due time. It'll likely become the primary way to purchase the title moving forward. So that's cool news. That's cool news. That's good. The Burning Shores DLC isn't that old, actually, either. So Pretty nice. This is the last thing we're going to look at today. If anybody has anything to add, let me know. We'll address it before we move on and do some more nice endless dungeon gameplay today with some community members. And big shout out to woo! God, sorry. Oh man, big shout out to Tinwin for hooking us up with some access to the closed beta to try the game out. It's been a lot of fun, dude. It really has. It's chill. It's a really nice multiplayer experience. So we'll get in there and we'll do some more of that today. Baldur's Gate 3. Just wanted to check out some of these scores here. There's something to be said here for trying to break down what's going on between the user scores on PS5, which is at a 7.8. You can see the Metascore on PS5 is a 96. PC is the same, 96, right? Now, there's a much higher amount of reviews critically on the PC, as same thing as user scores, right? But the difference being here, user scores are at an 8.9 on PC, whereas PS5 is a 7.6. I'm assuming that this has something to do with the difference between the platform versions. Maybe. We're going to look at a few of these scores here, okay? So, obviously, the game has been out on full release on PC for, roughly a month longer than what it has been for PS5. So, there's been more time for the game to be reviewed on PC than it has been for it to be reviewed on PS5. But, and look, 7.6 is respectable. But if you, the PC side, an 8.9 is like, that's going to blow people away, right? This is going to be a pretty solid experience. It's a really respectable score for most games. You know what I mean? Any game that hits like a 7.5, high sevens, that's a really respectable score. That's a pretty solid game. It's going to be a decent, pretty decent to a solid experience. Anything up in this area though is like basically something that's going to be unforgettable for you. It's going to be kind of a mind-blowing kind of experience. And there's something to be said for the difference between what people are consensus reviewing this at almost a 9 for users on PC as opposed to PlayStation where it's a 7.6. You know, there's a big difference there. So I wanted to see, let's get into some of these like mixed reviews here and see what people are saying. Game, okay. Game is stunning to look at on the PS5. I haven't encountered any performance-related issues. I'm new to the whole genre and Baldur's Gate franchise. Purchased due to all the hype around it. I enjoy turn-based combat games. However, the only thing annoying to me is just how painfully difficult it is even on normal difficulty settings. I feel like all fights I can't win. And I know this isn't just me. It seems to be a widespread complaint. This is an issue of people not having experience playing CRPGs. That's all that is. And so it sucks to see people rate a game at like a 5 or a 6 because they don't know how to play the game. Or because they're having a hard time playing at a normal difficulty. The fact of the matter is here is if you are not familiar with this genre of game and you feel like normal is too difficult, lower the difficulty so you can enjoy everything else the game has to offer. Okay? That's the thing about video games. You don't have to play it. Well, the main thing about games is playing it in a way which helps you to enjoy the content and have fun with it, right? If a game seems too hard and you have difficulty options, that's why those options are there. Lower the difficulty. Literally, the only thing they noted here that allowed them to bring the game down to a 6 was the difficulty of the game on normal. Lower the difficulty. There are 5 difficulty settings from what I remember. Don't listen to any of the bad reviews. This is a 5. Don't listen to any of the bad reviews. They're literally giving bad scores just because the game is turn-based. That's not fair at all. If you don't like something, then don't buy something. That's exactly what you know you don't like. The game is fantastic. Runs great on PS5. Everyone doing it's got low FPS or just review bombing this or too stupid to figure out how to put the game in performance mode. The game proves turn-based is still wanted and better than real-time when it comes to combat. More strategy and skill required, which is why so many people are giving bad scores just for that. If you don't have an above average IQ, then don't get this game. If you do, then you'll love the challenge. Why is this at a 5 then? What? At a 7. Baldur's Gate 3, the latest installment in the beloved RPG series, is a mixed bag for me. The biggest point of contention lies in its shift to turn-based combat. While some players appreciate the added strategic depth this change brings, I miss the fast-paced real-time battles of previous titles. Nonetheless, the game shines in its rich storytelling and character development, offering an immersive world that captures the essence of the Forgotten Realms. Visually, it impresses with detailed environments and character models. In sum, Baldur's Gate 3 delivers a compelling experience, but the shift in combat style may leave players divided based on their personal preferences. There's always a big issue of people. It's like the thing that's weird for me is like I like all kinds of different combat styles. I'm fine with it. Um, I think that there's definitely something to be said for incorporating the right kind of you know combat style into specific types of games. I think that Pillars did a great job with being able to allow people to do the active. Pillars of Eternity, Obsidian did a great job. You had the ability to do active time battling, but you could pause it anytime you needed to, which felt really, really good. So anytime something maybe went haywire or awry, anything unexpected happened, or maybe you pulled off, you're um, doing an attack that had like some kind of high proc chance of a stun or something, but the stun didn't hit, and you're like, God, I was really, planning on that happening, and then you have to change your strategy. You pause, reassess, and then pivot into whatever you needed to do next. It's a nice play style. But they also incorporated turn-based for that game too. You could do whichever one you wanted, which is, I think, a great development incorporation for games like this, and to give people the option of how they want to play it. I didn't try turn-based in Pillars because I really enjoyed the active combat style with just being able to pause anytime you wanted. I thought it was great. Terrible game. It's almost unplayable with less than 20 frames per second, making it the worst game on PS5. Performance subpar takes you out of the immersion. Let's look up something real quick. Yeah, so it does look like there might be some performance issues on the PS5 side, which is where maybe that could be a big part of the dip in the user rating we're seeing on Metacritic. Still struggling to run Act 3 even on PS5. Notorious Act 3 performance issues have made the jump to PS5. BG3, a pretty flawless experience for the most part, with nary a glitch, bug, or drop of performance over the game's first 2 acts. However, those who have reached the final third of Baldur's Gate 3 will be aware of the performance issues that occur in Act 3 whenever you visit the titular city of Baldur's Gate. The increased density and population of the environments made even the highest NPCs sweat. And it's the exact same situation on PS5. Ooh-wee. I didn't know that. So both platforms. In a PS5 versus PC comparison of Baldur's Gate 3 by Digital Foundry, it's shown the game's performance significantly drops whenever you're running around Baldur's Gate. This is not necessarily a lot of games. This happens in a lot of games in big cities. This is something you'll see a lot of times in games where in very populated big cities and games that you'll just get frame drop, you get stuttering and stuff. It's unfortunate. It sucks. And it does. It hurts immersion. No matter which mode you set the game to, you'll get this issue. On performance mode, the game runs at a steady 60 frames during gameplay, dipping occasionally during cutscenes, but the performance tanks considerably during Act 3. At its worst, the game rate drops to a pretty dismal 20 frames, and noticeable screen tearing can be seen when the frames do drop. Jesus. The exact same scenario when playing in quality mode 2 runs pretty much flawlessly at a constant 30 frames in quality mode. The performance once again tanks during Act 3. Digital Foundry seems to believe the cause of these issues is a combination of bugs and a CPU bottleneck in the area around the city of Baldur's Gate, due to how both modes drop to around 20 frames regardless of visual quality. Obviously, this isn't too much of an issue for PC users since there are potential workarounds, more powerful hardware. Those of you diving into Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5 will have to put up with it unless developer Larian Studios issues a new patch. That's highly likely right now, though, as Larian has been pumping out patches and hotfixes at almost startling speeds recently. Yeah. Okay. That's probably where you're gonna get more of the it's performing worse on, because I mean, to be fair, this game was originally developed for PC, and while the performance of the game does seem to be fine, really, unless you hit Act 3. Act 3 is really looking like a trudge on both platforms, but especially probably PS5. That's probably where this user score is getting a bit more tanked out on the PS5 version as opposed to the PC version, I'm guessing. More than likely. It's the news, my dudes. That's the news. Let's get some music popping off here. Let's go. Nice. You guys rock, man. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's weekend's been going well, man. I know mine has. We're going to move on and play some Endless Dungeon closed beta. And, I don't know. Just have some fun playing games with Tin Win and probably Pinky and probably True. And, it'll be a good day. So, if anybody's been able to hang out this morning, that's not familiar with the channel, or maybe if anybody's getting to check out this content later on as a VOD, then, we always go live at 6 a.m., roughly 6 a.m. CST. CDT, we start off with video gaming news before we segue our way into whatever game we're planning on playing for the rest of the day. Normally, we're involved in pretty good, nice, long gameplay for specific playthroughs or whatever that we do, but like right now we're trying out a closed beta, and then we'll get back into a little bit of Fallout New Vegas, and we've got some new games coming out this month that we're going to play, Payday 3, stuff like that. But most of the playthroughs that we do, we take all that content and we put it into highlights that'll be in playlists. So you can go back and look at all that content we've done for playthroughs we've done, all the video gaming news segments that we've done at the beginning of every single stream, always get highlighted out. So it's on all that content's always on the Twitch page. It's always in VODs and playlists on the YouTube channel as well, so people can go back and take a look at all the content we've done, as well as crazy, weird, funny highlights and clips and highlights of stuff that's just happened in the channel. So go take a look at that content, man. If you're enjoying it, then come hang out with myself and the rest of this amazing community whenever we go live 6 days a week now. 6 days a week. No Wednesdays. We're down on Wednesdays, but 6 days a week we go live, 6 a.m. CST, CDT, like I said. And we're always looking for more cool people that are really interested in the video gaming industry, you know, to be a part of what we do. And I don't know, that's the jam, man. So other than that, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. Hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend, whatever you have left of it. And we will catch everybody tomorrow for Monday, September 11th edition of Video Gaming News. All right.